I've decided to put this on video because I don't know how much more I can take of this. And it's probably not a great idea to show that it's affecting me. But the more I go within and meditate, the more I can actually hear these signals and what people call V2K, voice to skull technology, God technology or whatever. These signals that these gang stalkers are sending some of us. The more I meditate and so on, the worse this seems to get, because it's like I become more sensitive to it. So lately it has been ramping up really badly. And when I make more gang stalking videos and reveal more on my channel, it seems to get worse. I seem to get attacked worse, and at the moment it's 24/7. And I just feel like I'm in one torture after another. And for me, this goes to the physical, also into these EMF weapons and so on, so wherein if this stops for 5 minutes, a mosquito is on me, or it's a physical person harassing me or making problems for me. So my life at the moment is just torture after torture after torture, and I've got to put it in a video just in case something happens, so people know, even though that I'm talking about suicide, thinking about suicide, that's not my natural want. It's not my natural feeling. It's not my natural thinking. And then I found this, and so I've realized that how correct I am when I say to myself, I don't really want this, it's not really what I want, but I'm thinking about it. So those thoughts looks to me like pushed by things like this, EMF signals with messages embedded. Recently I've also had what I really feel is people, I don't know what they are, federal level, whatever, but people literally spying on me. I'm here at this camping ground on the road next to me, on the mountain road, Cerro del Toro, it's called, Periopolis, Uruguay. On this road next to me, people literally are even whistling to stop me crossing the Rainbow Bridge, magnetically suspended bridge between brain hemispheres into the higher spirit realms and astral traveling at night. So they're preventing that with whistling as I fall asleep. It wakes me back up again, and it puts me in a torture state. So it's just one thing after another at the moment. So I've got physical people also coming into my local environment, and it's very difficult to catch them. I'm seeing a lot of weird behavior around me. Like people are controlled either with this stuff or something else, but it's like people are controlled to kind of attack me.
So yeah, I got this new microphone and I was doing this 10-minute test on it. And the first few minutes were really filled with audio. And this was in the corner of my living room with a microphone pointed at the corner. So when I started going through this, I found a very brief conversation that is all in context. After I listened to it, I was thinking I should probably put this out in public. The sooner the better, because this isn't something that you want to sit on and put away or ignore. Also, this could just be to scare people, to scare anybody recording it into not doing something. And the last thing that I'm ever going to do is alter my behavior based on that kind of stuff. So that wouldn't work with me, but what I would do is put it out publicly just in case. What happened was I was listening to just this line here over and over. I hadn't even heard these spots yet. So I didn't realize that everything was in context. I was trying to verify what this line said. And I hadn't even moved forward. And had I moved forward, I would have realized that it was all in context and it all went together. But here I was just looping it. Now these all just sound like voices, actual voices, like a dirty, distorted phone call almost. Where this one, the first one I'm going to play you, is the only one that sounds more like a signal than a voice. So what it says is, and that's what I was trying to decipher at first, it says we have to kill him. And I'm going to play that, and it's a really raspy, gritty, distorted voice, and it's like, we have to kill him. I'm going to play that a couple times here, and then I'll loop it. So it says, we have to kill him. Let me loop that.
Now before I continue playing this just happened right now. I looked out my tent because I thought I heard people talking about me, and there's no one around. There's nobody there. And my cat hears it as well. Oro, he always looks in the same direction that I look. And we all know how perceptive cats are. Look, he's even out there right now. Good boy. So he just went out there to take a look because he hears it as well, and I see his ears, like me and him communicate. And his ears, sorry, just getting comfortable, his ears move to the direction that I'm hearing what I'm hearing. And I'm always hearing people talk about me, but what's interesting is these people never seem to be there. But I have had physical people as well, I'm sure of it. Let's talk about that later. But the majority of the time, it's like I'm hearing this stuff, but then people physically act out what the conversations were telling me. It's like I'm picking, this is not V2K, I think I'm also picking up on what I call the hive mind or organic portals talking about me, something like this, because people physically act out what I'm picking up on in I don't know, in my head, so to speak. Like, I'll hear people talk about me and then think, is that real? Are those people even saying that? And then there's no one around, right? But then people act that out the next day or later that day. Like, maybe they say something about my behavior or something, and then a manager, a separate person, like, comes to me and it's to do with what the people were talking about. So, and I get this everywhere. So I feel like I'm connected to some other world that's beneath the surface or something of this physical appearance world, and that these people, what we call organic portals, not base NPCs, I don't think, but the people we call organic portals, which is the majority of humans, that's what I'm calling organic portals at the moment. They seem to be part of this place as well. So maybe it is base NPCs as well, but it's as if they're, it's not just like psychic. It's like they're communicating on some sub-level, sub-layer, or other place. And it's not physically said with their mouths. It's like telepathed, but then acted out by people later. It's like, say, I might hear someone talking about me in the distance, and then I'm like, did I just hear that for real? And then I dismiss it, I go back to do what I'm doing, but I've heard it, right? I remember what they say. But then, the next day the manager will say something according and along the lines of, or act out, or tell me to do something, demand something of me. along the lines of what the people were saying. And it's always, about like controlling me, right? And it's always got to do with like gang stalking attacks. The things that I put on this channel, the people and their faces that I put on the videos on this channel are all involved always. See, I'm not just like attacking random innocent people and putting them on YouTube. These people are all involved in my gang stalking. It's this huge picture I'm trying to put together, and this video of Look Out for Charlie is very interesting.
I listened to this for like 20 minutes trying to make sure, and then when you hear the rest, it will verify to you that this actually says that. You can't go, oh, well, actually it sounds like chicken sandwich to me, because it's all in context. So then afterwards, this is the most important part right here. It says, oh, we could just make it a suicide. I swear to God, listen to it, and you will hear it plain as day, like a phone call. Or we could just make it a suicide. Or we could just make it a suicide. That is what it is saying. So it says, we have to kill him. And then the other voice says, oh, we could just make it a suicide. Right after that, a female sounding voice. They don't have to be female. It's just a female sounding voice, because these are computer generated voices. So your voice could be anybody if you wanted to talk live on this thing. Most of it is AI, but it can also be used as a communication system. And the reason why people would use this as a communication system is because it doesn't get monitored like shortwave, radio, CB, walkie-talkie, whatever. It's being monitored by an agency somewhere. There was a recording of whatever you are saying somewhere. Voice says, we have to kill him, and then, or we could just make it a suicide. And then this dismissive female voice comes in right here.
Now this is interesting because I have two males and a female voice in the, let's say, following gang stalkers who I presume are like federal level, but I don't know what this is. He says in a minute, I think, that this could be AI, like discussing to itself or something, and that could be very well the case. I've also made another video, super soldiers, cocaine super soldiers, because several times on cocaine this was all enhanced. So I took cocaine and this stuff would enhance, because you become more sensitive. If you take cocaine, you'll find that out for yourself, that you become even more sensitive. Same thing with cannabis, and that's how I really noticed this stuff to begin with. I was out of that busy part of the top mind and getting more meditative and picking up on this stuff. So it's not that you become a crazy schizophrenic when you take these things, it's that you become more sensitive when you take these things, and that's why a lot of people quit them. They say, oh no, I was having all these thought invasions all the time. People have said so much stuff to me why they've quit cannabis. It's not the way, and I'm actually at the moment off it myself because it's too much. But it's not the way. We really need to be taking more of it and figuring out this stuff more, in my opinion. Remember, I'm a shaman and exploratory, and I agree with you. You get more thoughts and you get these thought invasions when you get on cannabis, but it's not that that's a bad thing. You got to stop identifying with this top-level mind, which is an AI program itself. It's the part of the conscious mind that wants you to get a job every day and be part of the matrix. And just, it's like the ego top-level mind. That really is the devil of this matrix and the predatory, compromised section of your mind. That's not yours. And getting into this stuff and actually picking up on these signals does not mean you're schizophrenic and you're a bad person. What it means is you've become sensitive to what's really going on here, which is like a second level of invasion. After you manage to get away from the ego top level devil mind of the 7 ego devil faces, right? I always talk about Lucifer's pride, Satan is wrath. It's called Binfeld's classification of demons. Just type that into Google, you'll find Binfeld's classification. The 7 devils I always talk about. That's the top level ego Ethereum platform. And then it's like you detach, and these drugs, so to speak, or these plant substances help, and you become more sensitive to another layer deeper. And that's what I think's going on here, these EMF signals. Then what's beyond that seems to be even deeper and more you. So these two things are on the surface, and that means almost everybody in the world is stuck to the surface, and the surface compromised mind system that I've just mentioned. Now what's interesting is he's about to play a female voice that's more dismissive, and if this isn't AI discussing to itself, it does make sense, because I always hear these 2 male and 1 female voice, and they're always doing the same thing. They like discuss with each other, like this audio plays. I don't know if this is what's called V2K, voice to skull. I think so, because he's got here in the title, voice of God weapons. But, or is this people sitting in a room somewhere? It's either an AI talking to itself or real people sitting in a room, but it's very interesting. He has 2 males on here and a female, which is exactly the same as what I get. And the female's always questioning. The males seem to be in charge, giving the directive and saying like direct things, like it's a male energy, hey, we have to kill him. And then the woman always comes in with like if, but, or maybes.
Says, murder him.
Apparently he or she's not so kind. But my point is she kind of like follows along. She isn't like the main director. She'll never come first in the speech. So this could be an AI. And some sort of AI system talking to itself, discussing itself into knowledge or something, you know?
And then it says, in the house. So it says, murder him in the house. I'll loop it.
And recently here, I've been hearing in my voices that they want to come to my tent and do the same thing. Kill me.
Murder him in the house.
Don't forget, we saw all the hateful comments on that video I put up called Uruguayans are literally retarded. That got taken down, and I still have the video, but I don't have all the comments. I do have the comments in another video I will or have posted already, how I massacred 20 or 30 Uruguayans in 2 hours, which was me going through their comments, which are all very hateful, dismissive and hateful, and rebuttaling them to make them look like idiots. So if I haven't posted that video, it will be up soon. And this was on that video, Uruguayans are literally retarded. That got taken down for, hate speech, because I was swearing and getting very angry in it. But my point is that we saw the comments. So what I'm trying to say is this translates to real people, and either this signal is broadcast to them and becomes their thoughts, or it's, that they're all connected in this hive mind system so that they all get these EMF broadcasts at the same time, and that's why they seemingly all gang up on you. You see it? And it might be 10, 20 people in your environment, and go over to another town, it's different people, but with the same like motif energy and wills against you. See what I'm saying? So because organic portals are spiritless humans and they do not have their own spirit, it appears that these EMF technologies become their thoughts, is what I'm trying to tell you. So something is broadcasting this, and organic portals, spiritless, soulless humans, they appear to not just pick up on this like you do, but absorb it and become these signals. So if the signal is saying kill him and all this, then they have those sorts of thoughts and feelings about you. That's what I'm saying. And that, I don't know how this is broadcast, but this is all part of the life, so to speak, or this death matrix that you're in, and it's somehow inherent to this place. I'm not so sure anymore that it is just like a few group of people in a room. It could still be. I mean, that could still be the case, but I'm not so sure. It could be more that it is somehow code on a level of this matrix. Like I think he mentions in a second something about it could be AI. So it could be somehow the hive mind, or the AI controlling the hive mind of this system and these organic portals. Yeah.
We have to kill him, or we could just make it a suicide, then murder him in the house. This other voice comes in, a male voice, and it says, I'm waiting. Like even more dismissive than the female voice. I'm waiting. And then it says, to see if something's gonna stick.
You see what I mean? They're trying to stick these signals to you. That's what the voice means. I'm waiting to see if something's going to stick. Means they are waiting, whoever this is. This brings it back to, hey, it could be people with technology in a room. They're trying to see if these signals will stick to you, if you'll absorb them like the organic portals do. Because I'm sure that they do, but because we have our own spirit, it's like a higher energy comes over these signals, or our higher signal, our inherent higher signal from our, I don't know, higher self or spirit or whatever, comes and overrides these lower EMF signals, so that these signals don't stick to us the same way they would to organic portals.
To see if something's gonna stick. I'm waiting to see if something's gonna stick. I will loop it. I'm waiting to see if something's gonna stick. See if something's gonna stick. Now that sounds like the options are to kill somebody, suicide somebody, or set them up for something. See if something's gonna stick. And then the last voice is a deep voice, and it says, he's fucking clean.
That means they have some sort of reading technology that can sense if the EMF have stuck to you. So they're reading your thought patterns or energetic patterns somehow and seeing if the EMFs have stuck to you.
So we have to kill him, or we could just make it a suicide, then murder him in the house, and then I'm waiting to see if something's gonna stick. And then he's fucking clean. So what's going on? What is going on? Now there are implications to this that I also want to talk about. One, this is being transmitted and talked about. Clearly, the voice says, or we could just make it a suicide. Now, wouldn't the federal government, the feds, the police, want to know who is transmitting this and talking about this? This is essentially talking about murder and a setup, okay? That's one thing. So if you know a law enforcement officer or somebody involved in law enforcement.
It's hopeless, Charlie. They're either in on it or too dumb.
Send them this video and see what they have to say about this. Also, these are very real vibrational signals that were in my house. You've got this very real signal that exists in the room. Now, I didn't hear this. I heard it on playback. But if somebody heard this with their own two ears, is that delusional paranoia? Absolutely not. And somebody could very, very easily hear this with their own two ears. We have to kill them, or we could just make it a suicide, murder them in the house. I mean, how many times have you heard stories like this where people think the government is after them, they're going to kill them, and they heard it with their own ears in their house somewhere? How many times have you heard stories like that? I've heard thousands, literally thousands. And then or they're going to set me up. They're trying to set me up. And look what's here. I'm waiting. See if something's going to stick. And then he's fucking clean. So if somebody hears this with their own two ears, they are not delusional. They are not paranoid. In my case, I just heard it through the recording, not with my ears. Now, once again, are they trying to scare me, knowing that I was going to pick this up, and then I'm going to, load up all my stuff and quit? Maybe. You never know. And this should be taken very seriously. If I talked about this on the telephone with somebody, I would be in a whole lot of trouble. This is basically like a murder-suicide plot mixed with setting somebody up. See if something will stick. That's what that means. It's all in context. Like a lot of times you get these signals that jump up and, it'll say chicken sandwich, the rooster, or the black dog runs at night. Whatever. Once in a while you'll get like a sentence or two that lines up and correlates, but most of the time it's jumbled. This is all in context, like a conversation. And this is important. And as I said before, to hide this or just ignore it would be absolutely stupid. It has to be put out publicly. Now I need to keep doing what I'm doing even harder. So one more time, we got the gritty voice, says we have to kill him.
Please help me and